Hey guys, Snigby here from Snigby Gaming, getting ready to jump into a little bit more Factorio. Before I start, let's get the obligatory COPPA warning out of the way. If you're under the age of 13, my content is not designed for you. So you should not be watching this, and if you're under the age of 13, please click away to that now and find something else to watch. With that being said, let's talk about where we are right now. So while we were away, I didn't do a whole lot. I did, earlier, last episode, I created a little area here to do some electric work. Doing pretty good on satisfaction and production right now, just the 4 generators. I went ahead and put in another radar here, and then started building out a little bit of my smelting array. This is for a jump start base. So the first thing that I want to do today is actually on camera with you build out a jump start base. Now, what is a jump start base? That's a base where you build the basics that are going to allow you to build your first basically mall base. And that's what I'm going to be running to now is I'm going to build out the jump start base. Then I'm going to move from there. I'm going to move on up to building a belt-based base to take me up through my robotics, and we're going to stop at that and move on. I did find a nice website that talks about how to do the Factorio tech tree to quickly get down through there, and this is Dave mcw.com, Factorio Tech Tree. It's 17.79, but Tech Tree really hasn't changed much out there. And basically, you can come down through here and find where you're wanting to go. For example, I wanted to get into robotics, so I picked up logistics robots or construction robots, and basically it showed me how to get to basically my personal roboport. If you'll notice, there's a couple of extra things here that you might need to research if you want to go down that path. But basically, to get to construction bots and logistics bots, that's what we have to do. And so this is the science that we'll run through. And if you'll notice, it's actually fairly straightforward. Go steel, get your electronics, and get your automation too with your engines. Go up into fluid handling and do your oil processing. That's the basic oil processing. From there, you need to research sulfur and batteries so you can get some batteries because, as you can imagine, the robots are going to need some batteries out there. You need advanced electronics. Robots, advanced, makes a lot of sense. So to get that, you have to go plastic. Then you research the chemical science pack and get into advanced oil processing so that you can get lubricant. Because again, if you're talking about complex machines, you need to have some lubricants out there. And then once you do that, you can get some electric engines. So previously you were using not electric engines. So robotics is research all of its own. And then you start getting into construction and logistics at that point. From here, you want to go ahead and get your personal roboport. If you're going to get a personal roboport, you're probably going to need to have some armor out there. So the power armor allows you to do that. And there's another little tech tree out there, but it does use a lot of the same. And so I will get robotics first, and then I'll go ahead and bounce up to power armor so I can get a personal roboport assigned out there as we go forward. So that's the plan for the base to get up to bots. And like I said, the first thing I want to do is actually start by completing some science here. Go ahead and do that and that. Let's see here. Looks like I need to get a little more coal going. I'm getting tired of feeding coal. That's why I'm moving over here to electric engines, so it won't be very much longer before we're completely out of these, and I can go ahead and just pick these up and do away with whatever I need to do. Okay, so the reason I wanted to go electronics, by the way, is I need to get my underground belts and more importantly, my splitters. So that's going to take another 20 science packs, so I think I should have enough science out there. If not, while we're doing this, I'll go ahead and build out some more. Okay, so Oh, one last thing I need to get, the one last material. I don't know if I'm going to need it, but we're going to go ahead and get it anyway because I can. Is I'll get a little bit of stone going. I'm going to go ahead and bring that straight up. And the primary reason I'm doing stone right now is I want to grab one of my construction machines. Let's go ahead and grab an inserter here. And we'll take an inserter, pop it down like that, construction machine like that, and then another inserter going out. Going to need to have a little more power here, so that's not a problem. And that's going to go into a box, so I need to have a box up here. All right, so the box is there. We'll go ahead and limit the box to, 4 stacks, sounds good, of stone furnaces. Very nice. We're going to do a lot of stone furnaces because stone furnaces will convert into the next level of furnace later on down the road. But I also need a lot of furnaces here to make what I need to make. So we'll go ahead and put those in there and just let this go on. This also tells me I probably need to put my alt on. I like to see what we're making here, so we'll go ahead and run through that. And one last thing I can do just for grins. Put that there. Come on, get off of there. Put those in there and put a little power right. Yeah. Very nice. And that'll clear out the inventory there and turn those stone into that. All right, I'm going to go quiet here for a second, and you'll hear some commentary, but it's going to be in a voiceover as we go through here. So right now, we're in the middle of putting out a jumpstart base. You know what? I'm being silly here. I can actually put in let's start thinking automation here. Red. And what does that need? It needs gears and copper plate. I can do that. So if I put in another machine like here, go ahead and feed that. This is going to be making gears. There we go. So here I want to put some copper plate, so I'll put in, let's say half. Put in that, and put in that. And that should start making science. All right, first bit of automation complete. Now. All right, so this is VoiceOver Snagby here, just to let you know that anywhere that there wasn't very exciting content and I was just concentrating on the build, I'm going to go ahead and bump this up to double speed at least. So that's what you're seeing here. We'll jump in back to a little bit of commentary, then the most part of the middle part of this build is actually going to be in voiceover, and I'll talk about what I was doing.
Alrighty, jumpstart base needs to have some copper smelting.
Okay, so at this point, what I'm doing here is basically just making a small copper and iron smelter using the double-sided typical smelting array that you've seen everybody do. What I realized as I was building this is that I started it a little bit close to where my materials were coming in. So you're going to see some, instead of rebuilding it, which I might have should have done, it's not that important because uh, it's just a temporary, this is a jump start. I'm going to be tearing this down eventually anyway, but we'll go ahead and build out this iron and copper smeltery and get back to let it bigger, more builds later. So yeah, I was about at this point that I realized that I was trying to build this a little bit too close. And even when I built this, you're going to see that I made a mistake here as well. Uh, Still building too close. I should have added another space in here, and you're going to see that I made a decision. Um, it may not have been the best one, but again, with the type of build that we're putting here, very temporary, or not very temporary, but slightly temporary. I think it was the best decision I could have made at this point. Also, while I'm going down through here, you'll notice that I'm doing a lot of handcrafting here. This is why I'm building this jumpstart base, so I don't have to do all this handcrafting anymore. I'm having to handcraft a lot of um, green circuits so I can make inserters. I'm having to do a lot of gear so I can make belt. Those are all things that you really don't want to do because You know, if it takes five gears to make a belt and then five belts to make an underground, you're making a lot of gears there. So that's the reason why you go ahead and put one of these out there. Um, I also noticed at this point that something happened uh, to my science. It just stopped. So I just pulled off uh, oh, what are they? The inserters and replaced them, and everything kicked back off again. So anyway, okay. So at this point, you'll notice that I'm just finishing up the build here on all of these copper lines. And here's where I'm starting to realize, oh, I might have made a mistake here. But I hope you enjoy this little build, and we'll be back with you in just a moment. Build in a little buffer in the early game for my copper and iron. Uh, One, if there's a little production hic it will help out from there. This one is really small. Normally I put in 3 or 4 chests out there, but with this just being a little jump start, I didn't think I needed to have too much of a buffer. But again, this will just give me a little extra time in case something happens to uh, I don't know, the coal or ore starts to run out, and we'll run through there. Again, this is just a little jumpstart base, so not the primary, um, and we'll go on from there. Okay, so at this point, I am just looking to put in um, some gears. It's a very small gear array. I'll end up doubling it later on down the road here. But all I'm trying to do is get a very basic belt going that has the primary materials I'm going to need to build out um, my little jump start section here. This little segment right here is a pretty straight standard belt. I'm sorry, yeah, this is a belt section. Put the regular belts in the middle. Go ahead and move up on the top and bottom and put in a underground and the splitters. And so that's what I'm doing here. Just going to go ahead and build that out using a couple of long inserters. I know I'm going to have to do some interesting leaps and jumps here in a little bit, but hopefully you'll see those here, decisions I make from that whenever we get down to the green circuits, what I'll be adding onto this little basic belt in just a few moments. All right, so here I am building my little belt array or my green circuit array. Um, recognized right about here that, oops, I didn't want to build it here. Let's go ahead and put that belt in first so we can get everything kind of lined up, at least from a belt standpoint. Um, and then we'll base everything off of this. This also gave me the opportunity to better put in my build here, put an extra space in between the actual green circuit builds here. And yeah, so this will be a very basic green circuit build. I'm actually going to double this later on down in the game. Uh, don't need a whole lot because this doesn't run all the time, but I did want to go ahead and get that going here so that everything is good to go. Now, one of the other things I ran into here was I had set some electric lines up there. I'm like, oh, how am I going to do this? And had to jump over those. Not going to do it. So I decided to go ahead and move things around a little bit differently. I realized that if I'm going to put it on both sides of the belt, I need to have just a little bit more room. And then again, as part of that whole process here, I need to get some iron over here. And there's again a power pole in the way, so I went ahead and just put in a couple, moved it down just a little bit so I could get to where I needed to go. This also meant that I had to do a little bit of belt management, a little wiggle waggle there. Please forgive me if you're watching this, but yeah, that's a little green belt array, 3 to 2, three uh, copper cables to two normal belt arrays. Um, yeah, so we'll be back with you in just a second. Yeah, and it was at this point that I realized that I'm going to have to do a little bit of interesting belt mechanics to make sure that everything gets through where it needed to go. Um, you'll see me making some jumps here, rerouting some things. And this is the basics I'm going to go ahead and do for all the others as well. So if it calls for green circuits, I'll put a little splitter there, bounce the green circuits in, and then jump everything else across that little green circuit. All right, so looks like right now we have the basics of our belts going. So I've got the undergrounds, the splitters, and the basic belts going on. Pretty excited about that because now I don't have to handcraft belts moving forward. So here I recognize that I had made some additional underground or miners here. So I wanted to go ahead and get those installed both under the coal and the iron. I actually spent a little bit of these on um, the copper as well. Because I'm now smelting everything, I'm going to go ahead and pick up everything that I can. Make sure that there's uh, everything's pretty happy right there. So dropping off that coal I just picked up, I'm going to turn around and drop off any sort of ores that I have in my pockets, and go back and pick up the rest of these initial base builds. I've got my little wooden starter box here, so I went ahead and dropped off all of the burner miners because we won't be using those anymore. I'm also picking up the initial science build because I have finished up all of the basic sciences that I can do. Now I've got to get into green science. I also wanted to go ahead and put in a full belt of iron, at least for a full for what we needed to do here. So that's what we're seeing we do here is get those going, and there we have a full belt of iron ore. All right, so we're going to wrap this build up here. Right now I am wrapping up some of the, looks like we're doing, oh, the assembler machines, that's right. Get those going here. They need actually all three materials. They need some gears, some plates, and the green circuits. So that's good. I'll put one stack of those out here. And the last little bit that we're doing here are the inserters. So with this build, basically I have the inserters, both red, yellow, and blue. So fast, long reach, and regular. And we're going to go ahead and run through that. Um, that takes some green circuits, so we're going to do this little build here. Those take green circuits, and the red just takes some regular materials there. So that's what we're going to do here, and we're going to wrap this up. I believe the next thing that I do is, yeah, what I'm going to do here is put out a couple of more gears. Let those run through a little bit. I'm also going to build up my green circuits a little bit. But then I also sit there and think, why am I using yellows? I actually have some access to blues now. So do I need to put blues on the out? Uh, I can actually get away with yellows. So we're going to go ahead and do blues in, yellows out, save a little bit of our machinery there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up from the voiceover perspective. The next commentary that you're going to get in about a minute and a half is going to be my outro that I recorded live when I was in the machine, and it'll give you a little summary of what we built out there. So everybody, I enjoyed doing my edits here, and we will chat with you next time. Have a great day. All right, guys, so it looks like I have everything, basic materials that I'm going to need here. Basically, I started with some basic smelting. I got some iron here, full belt of iron. Looks like I got a pretty good full belt of copper for the size of a smelting array that I have. Got some coal coming in, more coal than I ever would need, and then also have quite a few stone furnaces made here with this little setup. Since I'm here, I can go ahead and pick that up. There we go. All right, so down through here, what I did was I just kind of brought everything together. I wasn't too worried about optimization or anything. Built a few gears here because I'm going to need gears later on down the road. Built a few green circuits here going down here as well. So the first thing I did was I basically looked at putting in yellow belts. Once I got to the yellow belt, one out of each side, I'm going into the yellow underground and the yellow splitters. The underground just needed an extra plate to go along with that. The splitters, on the other hand, needed the green circuits. That's why I've got those out here. I could upgrade these yellows to blues like I did down here, but I really don't care if these go as fast as they could. They're going fast enough for what I need, because eventually they're going to stop. These will get full and they're not going to be moving anymore, so no use in wasting a blue inserter for that. I also started some assembly machine 1s. I don't believe I have assembly machine 2s yet. Nope. I'm going to go ahead and queue up some labs here. That'll give me 12 labs altogether when that finishes up. And then the other thing that I went and did was I set up a yellow inserter, slow inserters, and then again fed those into the red and the blues. And if I need any of the other inserters, for example, I need a filter inserter, I can just create it, because I also set a box of green circuits aside down here on here, so we can take care of that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pick up a half a stack of those. So next episode, what I'm going to do is I think I will go ahead and build out a science array. While we were doing this, I went ahead and did all of the red sciences that I needed to do. Now I need to do red and green. So I need to go ahead and build out a true smelting array, so I can start getting into automation 2 and advanced material processing, which gives us a steel furnace, which I may move up to fairly soon. Circuit networks, don't need that. Do need the engine, and the tool belt gives us more space and electric. So again, we'll start moving down this path here in a minute. Eventually, I'll come back and pick up these basic reds, but probably not until I get down into some fluid handling and get into the bots, because again, that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to get up to the bot base as quick as possible, so I'm not running belts everywhere. Last time I ran a belt base, if you watched it, so hopefully you've taken a chance to go back and look at some of the content I did at the end of last year. Launched my first rocket. Didn't actually launch a satellite. I just wanted to go ahead and get the so long and thanks for all the fish. And at this point, I think I'll go ahead and sign off. So if you enjoyed this content, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe. Sure does make a difference in wanting me to let me know that y'all guys are watching this and enjoying the content that I'm throwing out there. So with that being said, everybody, this is Nigby signing off. Everybody, have a great day. Goodbye.